I personally would risk connection to other people with the potential of that connection having brokenness as well as joy. I love my family. I love my mother. I love my brothers. But as much as they've made me happy at some points, they have made me very sorrowful. They've hurt me horribly. Both of us have hurt each other horribly. But to forgive and to learn and to grow on both sides, this is love. This is joy. I would take the reality of connection over the detached shell of awareness any time of the day. Brokenness and joy together. This is life. Hi guys, my name is Mitchell Dodgen, and for those who are new to the channel, this is the Relentless Joe, your average Joe relentlessly seeking Christ. So this is the fourth video in the series called Truth, where I have delved into looking if truth is subjective or objective, if there's any proof of or any objective evidence for the existence of God, and if so, which God? Last episode, I delved into the religion of Hinduism. If anyone is interested in that video, I'll put the link in the description. I just gave a average overview of what it is made up of, beliefs, origin, scriptures, things like that. Today, we are delving into Buddhism. Disclaimer, I am no expert. I do not plan to paint myself as one, as the title would suggest. I'm just an average Joe seeking truth claims, looking into truth claims. That is my agenda. Now, that being said, let's get into it. So, we are looking at the origin of Buddhism, the beliefs of Buddhism, as well as their sacred texts. So, origin. Where did Buddhism come from? So, the origin or the founder of Buddhism, of the philosophy of Buddhism, was called Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha Gautama. I'm butchering it. There's a proper way of saying it. I tried to listen on Google how to pronounce it, but forgive me. But yeah, yes or no, his name is not Buddha. I was also taken off guard when I found this out. Apparently Buddha was a title given to him, which means the enlightened one, which was given to him when he reached this stage of enlightenment. Yeah. So Gautama, he was born into a royal family and lived in a palace and was sheltered for most of his life from a lot of hardships. He developed a desire to know more about the world, the outside world, so he went on 4 different occasions past the walls of the palace, and these are significant occasions. They are known and referred to as the 4 sights. On these 4 occurrences, he witnessed, at one point, he witnessed an old man, a sick man, a dead man, and a monk. With the exception of the monk, these sights led him to the philosophy and understanding that life is suffering. So after these 4 sights, Gautama left his palace, as well as his family, his wife and child, in order to go explore and find the key to happiness. Because he lived a life of abundance, He then went through discipline and hardship for 6 years and lived a life of extreme absence, where he fasted water and food for long periods and meditated and pray for extended times at end, just to come to the realization that he's no closer to happiness or enlightenment. He then came to a path that he understands as the middle way, which is a life of moderarity. He then went and sat under a tree and meditated for a period of time, where he then came to enlightenment. After this, for the next 45 years, up until his death, he taught and shared these teachings that he discovered. So at this period of time, 500 BCE, there were these wandering sects in that area, and they're called wandering sects because they were rejecting the teachings at that time, the teachings from the Vedas, which was the religion of that area, because Gautama was born in modern-day Nepal, India. So these different sects had different names to distinguish from themselves, but Gautama, for their sect, they had a specific name called Sangha in order to distinguish from the rest, because his teachings were so uniquely his. They don't believe in a god. This is why I would rather refer to them as a philosophy rather than a religion. They do believe in deities, but not in a creator. They believe the universe has eternally existed. They have four main truths, and these are called the four pillars, which is important to understanding Buddhism. These four truths, according to them, is life is suffering. Suffering comes from desire. There can be an end to suffering, and there is a path to this end. The main goal of Buddhists is to reach the state called nirvana, which is a state that allows you to not be reborn into the cycle of life and to experience its suffering again. They believe in reincarnation, which is a cycle of continuous rebirths and deaths, unless you have reached the state of nirvana in your previous life. Your quality of life that you are born into is connected to the past life's actions, which is either good or bad, which determines the type of life that you will be reborn into. You can be born either as a human, an animal, a deity, or some or other form of lower creature, such as a ghost of some sort. They also believe to reach this achievement of life without suffering is to detach yourself from any material thing in this world, such as any desire or possessions, family, friends, things like that. Because all these things are temporary and they ultimately fade away. Sacred texts. So the original sacred text that they use, their main text, is called the Tripitaka, which means the three baskets. These teachings were assembled shortly after Gautama's death and passed on orally for centuries until eventually being written down on palm leaves. And these teachings, or these sacred texts, contain Buddha's commentary, his quotes, his teachings, as well as rules for monks and nuns. There is also the sutras, which is used or embraced by the Moyama Buddhists, as well as there is a Book of the Dead, which is a Tibetan text describing the stages of death. These are the texts that I could find in my research of what the Buddhists use. I understand that I've only given a rough overview of the essence of Buddhism. I only have one life, and I can't be spending it researching in depth all these religions in order to give you a more insightful understanding of the completion of Buddhism. I'm just giving you a rough or average overview of what I have found. I would like to now step into my own insights and perspectives of these teachings. My perspective does come from a New Age point of view and experience where New Age, they take core values and beliefs, some core values and beliefs from some religions, which includes Buddhism. Some of the language used in New Ageism is to detach from material things. If things break or get lost or stolen or people die or break up with you or disappoint, the fact that you can detach from that pain is quite an attractive thing to someone who has probably experienced a lot of it, and they would just like to not experience this anymore. Years where I started seeing the cracks in these types of teachings. If broken people start to detach from something such as suffering, which is a fundamental guarantee in life and reality, they are detaching from reality itself. Once you start to detach from reality itself, it is easy to be perceived as happy because reality is whatever you make of it in your mind. This is dangerous. I know this because I went through a long period of living in a reality of my own, which was accommodated by my detachment from what is real and what is not. I also experienced this through people in the New Age, which when you were talking to them, they were so far from reality that if you mention anything that is contradictory to their reality, it might rattle them so much that there's like an essence of they have the capabilities of attacking you because of you are disturbing their reality and their understanding of what they think reality is. I have a more personal experience as well, which is my father. He had schizophrenia. He was a complete, fully diagnosed disillusionment schizophrenia, hearing voices that weren't there, telling him things that are not real, horrible things that only he could hear, seeing things that nobody else sees. And this was accommodated because of his disattachment from reality and what was real around him. So there were periods where he was fine for some time. That's if he held on and grasped long enough reality and what was real or not. But these periods didn't last too long. Yeah. Now, I think why monks or Buddhists do not lose their minds is because they have taken this detachment to the extreme where they have no connection to who they were or am. They have no connection to what made them them, their opinions, emotions, experiences, desires, good or bad. They have put all these things that form their person in a box and placed it far from their awareness. So they are just aware beings. It might seem like peace, but I would argue that it is easy to have what they perceive to be peace if you have no feelings or concerns of what is going on in reality. So imagine a life where you don't experience love or joy or sadness. Like, that might be a contradictory statement, but sadness sometimes for me is such a wonderful feeling because I have the capability of being sad. Now, I'm not talking about depressed. Depressed is a very horrible feeling. I'm talking about true sadness, like sorrowful or happiness or just joy, love. Love from a family member, from a mother, from a brother, from a father, from a friend, from a spouse, from a child. Joy from perceiving the world, from perceiving how beautiful this world can be, sorrow from how horrible this world can be. Like, having any of these experiences, imagine you can't have this, how empty life must be to give up all that just to have what you think is peace. I I couldn't deal with that. Like, that was just a horrible concept to me, to think that I'm just walking around detached. it is it is lost on, like, it grew firstly because of, like, I don't want to suffer anymore. I don't like suffering. Life and its hardships are horrible. But when I truly delved into the essence of what that contains, is yes, I would give up suffering, but I would give up all these other wonderful things as well. And the cost was not worth it. I personally would risk connection to other people with the potential of that connection having brokenness as well as joy. I love my family. I love my mother. I love my brothers. But as much as they've made me happy at some points, they have made me very sorrowful. They've hurt me horribly. Both of us have hurt each other horribly. But to forgive and to learn and to grow on both sides, this is love. This is joy. I would take the reality of connection over a detached shell of awareness any time of the day. Brokenness and joy together. This is life. This is the end of the video. I do appreciate you staying and listening. Yeah, thank you. On the next video, I will explore the philosophy of cynicism. Being a cynic comes from Greek philosophies mostly. I will delve into an average overview of what that holds. Yes, thank you guys. I appreciate your time. Be blessed.